You can't go to a court and abuse the judge, even if you are innocent. Okay. You can't go to a court and start telling the judge he doesn't know the law. You know the law more than the judge. And this, I'll be honest with you, this judge was very lenient. He was very nice. I'm telling you, this judge, Omotosho, whatever his name, was very nice to Kanu. Most judges in Nigeria will not give him license. They will have put him to death sentence. I can tell you that.
Really?
Yes. I'm telling you for fact.
So this is not a laughing matter.
There are 1,000 videos of Nnamdi Kanu making threats, ordering people to burn Lagos down. He said he was going to go to Abuja and kill Buhari and bring his head. The problem with Igbo people, there is no unity. Igbo people have no unity and they don't like each other. That is a fact. Igbos don't love each other. Let me give you an example. Okay. A man who kills his brother is not a hero. Any man who takes a market and cut the brother's head off or shoot him, you are not a hero. At least in my lifetime, Ojukwu have visited this palace 3 times.
You saw him?
Yes, I saw him and I sat there with him with his father, and Ojukwu regretted the war himself. Come closer, let me imitate him for you. Okay. My father said to Ojukwu, he came back, this Biafran war, if you have to do it all over again, will you still do the same thing? And this is Ojukwu's response. Igwe, you know, the war was highly regrettable. That is Ojukwu. And if I have to do it again, I'll do it differently. Otherwise, the people that are there, we haven't learned nothing from the first war. Yes, Ojukwu himself lamented in this palace twice in my ear that he regretted the Biafran war. This is Ojukwu's word. Look at that. I probably led the first one. I don't think the second one is necessary. That is Ojukwu for you. This is not this is real. This is Ojukwu. Go to your phone, take your phone and open it and listen to Ojukwu's interview on Biafra. What the Igbos does to themselves is worse than what other tribes does to them. Fact. I say it in your face. This is River Niger. Look at the importation, the containers. We are mainly the importers. Can people come to do this? We can work with government. We can work on it. China has got money. All they need is what China wants now is influence. They've got money to invest. But we have to tap it. We have to give people that have brains, that speak Igbo interest. We can have the Niger dread. Some people will say Nnamdi Kanu was abducted from Kenya illegally. Let me say this once again. Ask any lawyer next to you. Ask any senior advocate, any judge you know. When national security of any country is threatened, human rights is suspended. I repeat myself. When national security is threatened by anybody, your human rights are suspended. All the reference in social media abusing Zeke. Tell me what your own father did in this country. Show me, if any. If he was not a wine tap or a farmer somewhere, you want to come and compare yourself with Zeke of Africa. Azikiwe that is known all over the world. It was Azikiwe that saved the day during the Biafran war. Without Zeke, most of us won't be here today. Yes, he saw the danger and all of us were almost getting wiped out. He threw in the towel. Zeke did.
Well, listening to the things this man have to say about Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, everything that has to do with the Kanu's case, just listen very carefully. Then, of course, as usual, we'll be, giving some clips of, analysis as he portrays his own opinion, because this is actually his own personal opinion. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel for more. Of course, video credit goes to the original creator, Creative Lord TV, so you can source and get to know more about this particular video. And don't forget to, lend your own voice. Drop your opinion in the comment section. Let's get to know what you think about it.
I just want people to pay attention to what I'm about to say. Okay. Now, this is a bit history of Nigeria. Okay. Igbo Aguna, my father, was one of the architects of Nigerian independence. Aguna was the first Nigerian to use the word revolution in this country, October 27, 1948. So I'm hearing a lot of young people now shouting revolution now. Their father wasn't even born when my father used the word revolution in this country. So the way is a small boy. Revolution is just he had the word. But the first Nigerian to use the word revolution is Aguna. He delivered a lecture under NCNC that dealt a blow to the fall of the British government, October 27, 1948, Glover Hall, Marina, Lagos. That's where the word revolution started in this country. So now, the statues you have here is of Agui Ironsi. We know who he was. He was a military leader. Yeah. Eventually, he was assassinated after the coup. Right? This is Chukwu Makaduna Zogu. We know who he was. He was the people that planned the coup of 66. All these people have visited the board from the palace when my father was alive. They've all been here. They have. That's why I tell you this palace is a place of history, like no other.
Agui also visited.
Of course, he stayed here. Of course, Zogu visited here. Of course, yes. This is Gowan. Gowan after the war came here to Oka. He came here to see my father. He stayed here for 2 hours. Yes, because my father was a nationalist. It's not about marginalizing or Biafra. It's about Nigeria. The background of this palace is Nigeria, because my father fought for independence of this country. That is the truth. So go on, come here. And why I wrote some of these things is to educate young people who don't know history. Okay. Some people think that snake is a necklace. Snake is not a necklace. A lot of young people today calling for war. They did not see war. Even their parents did not see war in Nigeria. So they don't know what they're playing with. That is a fact. After the war, this is Gowon, that's what he said. No victor, no vanquished. That was his statement. Now, you come to this side, Ojukwu Ikemba comes to this palace. At least in my lifetime, Ojukwu have visited this palace 3 times.
You saw him?
Yes, I saw him, and I sat there with him with father, and Ojukwu regretted the war himself. Come closer, let me imitate him for you.
Okay.
My father said to Ojukwu, Ikemba, this Biafran war, if you have to do it all over again, will you still do the same thing? And this is Ojukwu's response. Igwe, you know, the war was highly regrettable.
That is Ojukwu.
And if I have to do it again, I'll do it differently. Otherwise, the people that are there, we haven't learned nothing from the first war. Yes, Ojukwu himself lamented in this palace twice in my ear that he regretted the Biafran war and called for nobody to stop this agitation. Ojukwu said it. So if the founder of Biafra can say this, who are you? Who are you? Fact. Yeah. Anybody has had a phone like this, go to YouTube, go to Google, and Google Ojukwu's interview on Biafra. Google it, it's here. This is Ojukwu's word. Look at that. I probably let the first one. I don't think the second one is necessary. That is Ojukwu for you.
This is not this is real.
This is Ojukwu. Go to your phone, take your phone and open it and listen to Ojukwu's interview on Biafra. This is Ojukwu's word. He regrets the war and doesn't think a second one is necessary. So all these young people calling for war in Southeast, I hope people will join the army to pick up guns and go and stand in front and see what the bullet sounds like. Because most of you don't know what war is all about. You know, when war starts, you're not gonna be in your house swiping through your phone. No. You won't be drinking your milkshake. No. You won't even remember where your house is. So most of you calling for war today should think twice. I am against any form of war in this country. Anybody who is waiting for war is not my friend.
Okay, you don't need war.
I don't need war. We don't need war. I was in London when Nnamdi Kanu started this state. Most of you are not privileged like I am. I'll tell you. Okay. I was in London when Nnamdi Kanu started this state. It was Ricky made him to be a spokesperson for Radio Biafra. I live in Brixton. Yes, most of you don't know how this thing started. So today all of you are running off your mouth. You don't know the intricacies. You don't know. Right? And when the first meeting was held, it was a man from Nimo called Dr. Onyenemelu. That's where the first time Nnamdi spoke to Igbos in London. Most of these people talking today were not there. Don't even know what I'm talking about. And what did those men say to Nnamdi Kanu? They said, my son, we don't think your idea is right. We don't agree with you. That was all these men who has been to war. People like Onyenemelu, Bisachi Dioli, so many of them that lived in UK. Some of these men fought next to Ojukwu in the battle, and they were against it. From day one, all these people running off their mouth today, I didn't see them there.
Okay, sir, but I want to ask you something. What necessity do we need right now to get it right?
What we need in Nigeria is that the Nigerian constitution should be amended. This is a constitution that was given to us by soldiers, by the military. We need intelligent people, lawyers, who are constitutional lawyers, to take this Nigerian constitution, begin to rewrite it from page 1 to the last page. Now, certain things have to come in this constitution. In Nigeria, we don't have what we call referendum. Referendum is where a group of people agitating for time will say, okay, this is what we want. You put it on referendum. If those people agree with that, if they have the majority, then it goes. In countries like UK, if people are agitating for something, there's a particular number of people that will sign that petition, agitation. Once it gets to that number, Parliament will not deal with that matter. That's how it goes. So we don't have it here. So Nigerian constitution is where we have to start. It's not about running off your mouth in Facebook or social media. Blah, 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 blah. At the end of the day, it doesn't get you nowhere. We have to go back to the drawing board. Nigerian constitution must be changed. When the constitution is changed, every group in Nigeria will have their representation of interest. Now we have to draft that constitution to suit everybody. That's where the change will come into Nigeria. It's not about picking up arms and going after these people. No, I don't believe in war.
Okay, but this is you're talking about Nigeria. What if we Igbo people? What do we do?
The problem with Igbo people, there is no unity. Igbo people have no unity and they don't like each other. That is a fact. Igbos don't love each other. Let me give you an example. Okay. A man who kills his brother is not a hero. Any man who takes a machete and cut the brother's head off or shoot him, you are not a hero. You are not my hero. I don't know about anybody else, but I'm just telling you. So Igbos, for example, go to Onitsha Head Bridge. There have been days when the NAFDA people come, they 6,000 millions of naira worth of drugs and burn it because they are fake drugs. How do you have the heart to sell fake drugs to your brothers and sisters? And you say you love them because of money. You want to build 4-story building. No, that's not love. That is not love. So Igbos have to come back. First of all, where's the Igbo leadership? Igbo have leadership. We need to have people in Igbo land who are sincere, who are there for Igbo cause, who love Igbo land and not going to use it to make money or fame for themselves. Then we should have the right leaders to speak for us. We have to come to Southeast. Anybody we are voting as a senator or federal house of rep, be somebody we know that is going there to represent Igbo interest. That is the truth. Until we have that, everything we are dreaming is a farce. It's not going to happen. I said it. Base one, Nigerian constitution must change. And once that constitution changes, clauses that our interests should come into that constitution. If the presidential thing will be rotational, then it will be rotational. One time it will be South. Then now we have Nigeria divided into two, North and South. There's nothing like South out or Southeast. But we have another constitution. We can now include that at some point, presidential candidate or whatever, that position must come from Southeast now. Then if it's up to Southeast now to decide who they want to front. South, one. Northwest, Northeast. When Nigeria is working, then everybody will feel inclusive. Then all this agitation will stop. So until some people feel marginalized in Nigeria, whether it's true or not, because sometimes I can say it, what the Igbos does to themselves is worse than what other tribes does to them. Fact. I say it in your face.
So if I the
Why the worse?
Are you trying to say that we are not marginalized?
We are marginalized, but what we are doing to ourselves is worse than what we are thinking about others. That is a fact.
So do you think if we get it right by ourselves,
if Igbos get it right, we can develop Igbo land. Let me tell you something. If Igbo people today, billionaires in Igbo land, want to do something about River Niger, we want it drained so that we know we are the importers. Let all the goods come from China direct. We can step up, we can kick Lagos to the side. And ships will come. But how many priority? How many, yes, a budget of let's say 10 years. Yes, how many Igbo billionaires are willing to invest? How have we got a delegation of Igbo traders to say, okay, we are going to China? We go to Chinese embassy through the ambassador. We go to China. We say, okay, China, this River Niger, look at the importation, the containers. We are mainly the importers. Can people come to do this? We can work with government. We can work on it. China has got money. All they need is what China wants now is influence. They've got money to invest, but we have to tap it. We have to give people that have brains, that speak Igbo interest. We can have River Niger drained.
It becomes like our port.
Our port. But why can't we do it? A lot. If you started something, it died down. A lot of people are coming, it died down because we don't have that unity with one voice to say it. If all the billionaires with our friends all over the world we could come together and say, you see this River Niger, we give it 5 years, we'll drain it and ships will come from China. It will happen.
So there was not Igbo can't have video. Can you find the mirror?
All right, there are Igbo, like I said.
What project has the good?
What is their job? Them going to talk about Igbo this, this, that. I haven't seen anything concrete achieved by Ohaneze today. Because most people there are just show offs. They want to be on television, they want to be on camera. I'm Igbo leader, I'm Igbo that. What sacrifice have you made for Igbo people? Nothing. Yeah. So before we select leaders in organizations like Ohaneze, we must handpick people that have Igbo interests. I've said it before. People that have Igbo interests, people that are not there because of camera or want to make name. I was Ohaneze and Igbo leader for 5 years. And so what? Who gives a shit? Okay. Recently, Nnamdi Kanu was convicted by a federal court to life imprisonment. Nnamdi Kanu, if Nigerian government wants to be fair, there's a lot of bandits in this country who are done worse than Nnamdi Kanu. But I'm not saying Nnamdi Kanu is innocent. He is not innocent, 100%. Because I was in London when the whole thing started. Most of you listening to this were not there when the first meeting was held. So Nnamdi Kanu is not a saint. To me, Nnamdi Kanu is not a hero. Never have and never will be. But Nigerian government, the Nigerian government should be fair and balanced. What is good for the geezer, the goose is good for the gander. So a lot of kidnappers, or what we call bandits in the north, are there showing off their ammunitions. I expect Nigerian government to attack these people. Nigeria bought Tucano aircraft from US. I don't know how many we bought. We bought some tanks from China. So I don't see why Nigerian military should not take the war to these people and wipe them out overnight. It can be done. But maybe there's a corruption in the system where our generals are making money with this war.
Okay.
Yeah, because I remember sometime when what's his name? So what was exposing Buratai. That Buratai bought houses in Dubai and stuff like that. Who knows? I don't know the intricacies. But what I'm saying to you that Nnamdi Kanu has been jailed today. I think that same justice should be there with other bandits, leaders in Nigeria. Nigerian government should not negotiate with bandits. They shouldn't. Those people should be held accountable, put to jail, or face firing squad. That's what I'm calling on. But as on Nnamdi Kanu's matter, Nnamdi Kanu is not a saint. End of story. Take it or leave it. It is the truth, and I know the truth hurts. But people like us, we have the courage to say it.
So, yes. So many people believe that it was not just. Like
the point is, let me tell you something. Look at it how with sentiment. The problem with we Igbo is that everything we do, sentiment takes over. We cover our eyes to the truth because of sentiment.
Okay.
You can't go to a court and abuse the judge, even if you are innocent. Okay. You can't go to a court and start telling the judge he doesn't know the law. You know the law more than the judge. And this, I'll be honest with you, this judge was very lenient. He was very nice.
Are you
I'm
sure?
telling you.
This
Your
judge?
judge, your Omotosho, whatever his name, was very nice to Kanu. Most judges in Nigeria will not give him license. They will have put him to death sentence. I can tell you that.
Really?
Yes. I'm telling you for fact.
So this is not a laughing matter.
Listen, there are 1,000 videos of Nnamdi Kanu making threats, ordering people to burn Lagos down, burn Mutalam oil. He said he was going to go to Abuja and kill Buhari and bring his head. You don't threaten a living president and say, it is not a joke. I'm telling you for fact. If you like it, like it. If you don't like it, don't like it. Truth doesn't. Most people haven't got the guts to say what I'm saying.
So that is
it is the truth. I don't give a fuck.
The sentence was a fair one.
It's a fair sentence, and I can tell you what's going to happen. I don't see Nnamdi Kanu serving life sentence. At some point, a political solution will come for this matter.
Yes.
But this is the right way it has to go for now. Then Igbos, now we have to find people, not all these loudmouth riffraffs that don't know nothing. We have to have a delegation to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and say, look, yes, this young man has offended. He's been punished. There must be some equity. Yes. So now federal government through negotiations. After all, Wazirike was jailed. Wazirike is a free man today. It is the same crime like in Nnamdi Kanu. So if Nigerian Igbo people can have a good delegation, not people that run up, not the social media dancers, real Igbo people that have the interest of Igbo people can have a delegation to President Tinubu and say, look, yes, this young man has been punished. We don't agree with most of the things he was saying, but it's about time we have to let this man go, whatever. And I think Tinubu will listen to them. I believe so. Wow. At the end of the day, it will be a political solution. Because Nnamdi Kanu have given 100 years or life, does not mean he's going to serve life. That will not happen. A political solution will come at some point, and this matter will be resolved. But what I'm saying is, this is a lesson to anybody tomorrow who wants to start, he wants to break away from Nigeria and claiming and boasting about something you cannot do. Boasting about something you cannot deliver. Because you have ego. Do I know who you are? At the end of the day, the law will put you in your place. That is a fact.
So there's a law in Nigeria if you don't know.
Yes, if you don't like it, you like it. If you like it, that's your problem.
Okay.
Some people will say Nnamdi Kanu was abducted from Kenya illegally. Let me say this once again. Ask any lawyer next to you, ask any senior advocate, any judge you know. When national security of any country is threatened, human rights is suspended. I repeat myself, when national security is threatened by anybody, your human rights are suspended. So America has Guantanamo. Those people they caught in Afghanistan, what was their crime? Because they were fighting for Taliban. They've been kept in Guantanamo for 10 years, 20 years without trial. How come we are not criticizing America for those people? A lot of people are still awaiting trial in America for a crime they did not commit. Nobody is saying something about it. But America will come here to come and educate us. We want to educate us about human rights when black people have been used and enslaved for 400 years. I don't think so. You understand what I'm saying?
So like the law of kidnapping, because
what I'm trying to say to you, any government can pick you up anywhere. Once they believe you are a threat to the national security, it doesn't matter where you are. They will take you. I remember even in those days of Shagari, when MPN was there and the military came in, Buhari's regime, Umar Diko was almost kidnapped from Britain. It's just that in 9 minutes, somebody get a tip off the security there and he was stopped. Umar Diko was bundled in a case to Nigeria to come and face charges of corruption. That was a fact. So know it in your head. When national security is threatened or involved, human rights are suspended. That is the ruling of Supreme Court of Nigeria. Check it out. A country like Britain, I'll give you an example. That's where I went to school. They have what the British Constitution is not codified. It is a law that works. I remember when there was a young man killed in Britain, in Tottenham. This young man was shot by police. But Britain, after the riots, I was in England. Most people that took part in that riot did not go there because of the man that was shot dead. They went there to loot the shops. Most of them were arrested. Overnight, they were tried and convicted. There was no adjournment in the case. The same day, they were tried and convicted and sentenced. So any country can revoke that part of their rule, that part of their concept of their law. If Nigeria today feel threatened now that Cameroon is trying to invade us, we're not going to wait for Tinubu, who is a medical, this to come home. The vice president can take that decision and say, you know what, Nigerian army go to war. When the president comes now, he's falling. So what I'm saying to you is that the law have said it. When national security is involved, human rights are suspended. Nnamdi Kanu has made statements that threaten to national security in this country. If you say you don't know it, you should go and dig a hole and bury yourself alive.
Well, in this discussion, we need to slow down and reflect, not with anger, but with clarity. As we all know, the sentencing of Nnamdi Kanu to life imprisonment, this man recently claimed that Nnamdi Kanu deserves death sentence and not that of life imprisonment, and that human rights can be suspended when national security is threatened. He talked about the extraordinary rendition of Nnamdi Kanu, that it was justifiable because national security was threatened, and therefore suspending the I don't know where this man is actually getting this law from. So therefore suspending the the human right. But before accepting such heavy words, we must ask ourselves a simple question. What exactly did Nnamdi Kanu do to deserve death? And since when did national security becomes an excuse to abandon the rule of law? Today, we'll briefly examine where this argument goes wrong, why it is unfair, and what history has already taught us about injustice, agitation, and the consequences of ignoring due process. This is not about defending anyone blindly. It's about, understanding the truth, law, and deeper issues Nigeria keeps sweeping under the rug. Let's even pause and ask the real questions. Does Nnamdi Kanu deserve a death sentence for challenging the status quo? Does Nnamdi Kanu deserve death sentence for asking for good hospitals, for asking for functional schools, standard hospital, for asking for seaport in Igbo land, for advocating for the constitutional amendment that would benefit his people? Does Nnamdi Kanu deserve death sentence? Why Fulani herdsmen have been terrorizing Igbo land and across Nigeria for decades, causing havoc and loss of lives, why many political elites remain silent? Some are even defending them to the core. Does Nnamdi Kanu deserve death sentence when he tried to engage Igbo politicians on this the same agitation, only to be betrayed, much like what happened to Ojukwu during the Aburi Accord in Ghana? Because we all can remember that after the Aburi Accord, something happened. What that was supposed to be made public was never publicized. And this is the same issue with Nnamdi Kanu when he had the robust discussion about the Igbo at the verge of inception of this very agitation, after which the military went to his house, ravaged everything, lives were lost, and all manner of things. After that, what stopped the Igbo politicians to come out and say, this is what we discussed? This was the agreement we had with Nnamdi Kanu. And he said no, or he didn't accept this, or he accepted this. Does Nnamdi Kanu deserve death sentence when, despite repeated marginalization of Igbo in all sectors of Nigeria, he continued to speak for the people? After the civil war, the genocide against Igbo should have been addressed through the 3 R's: the rehabilitation, the reconciliation, and the reconstruction. Yet nothing substantial was done, and the Igbos were reintegrated into the Nigeria with just 20 pounds. Could this man explain that? Now, let's take it step by step. On Ojukwu and the Biafra War. The same man claims that Ojukwu regretted the Biafra War according to what he said in this video. War, of course, is never good for civilians, never good for anybody. But did he understand the context through Ojukwu says so? Did he consider the anti-Igbo pogrom, the assassination of Aguiyi, the 1966 coup forcibly labeled an Igbo coup, which was never so? Ojukwu did not start this war. The war could have been avoided if Yakubu Gowon had honored the Aburi Accord in Ghana, what was discussed. But he didn't, citing malaria and typhoid as his excuse. Over 50 years later, Gowon is alive, yet he has never led advocacy for the better treatment of Igbos. Talk about Nnamdi Kanu emergence. Nnamdi Kanu emerged because Nigeria's trajectory, even today, remains unsatisfactory. The disaster is ongoing and everyone is feeling the heat. Yet, the offense of an Igbo man asking for fairness is being treated as a capital crime. This man says Nnamdi Kanu cannot go to court and claim he knows the law better than the judge. Well, on what ground? Before considering this very statement, Kanu's rights were tampered with, and I believe everyone understands this. Laws exist to protect citizens, the activities of every citizens, but in his case, they were inverted, they were turned upside down. You see, the trial was not live streamed, but the judgment was. When law and procedure are skewed, citizens have a right and sometimes a duty to speak up. Is it a crime to defend oneself when the law has been ignored? Wherever space you find yourself. The issue is not about whether or not the trial was live streamed. It's about fairness, justice, and the reflection of the law guarding every citizen of a country. Let's be clear, this is not about portraying Kanu as a saint. It is about recognizing that this is a highly political case. 80 to 90% of Igbos have demanded free Nnamdi Kanu. This is the voice of a people who feel unheard. No one here condones violence, but when peaceful protests were met with gunfire under Buhari's regime, the agitation grew. It was not invented, it was provoked. History is repeating itself. Does Nnamdi Kanu deserve death sentence for representing the frustrations of a people ignored by their own governors, senators, and cultural leaders or Igbo? By what law, by what criminal code, personal opinion, and judicial anger do not justify that? Why would you try a man with a repealed law and you ask him to stand trial? Why would you try a man whereas his fundamental human right is initially violated and you said you want to try him? On what basis of the law? Look at the Niger Delta militants. They were given amnesty, dialogue was held, and today there is relative peace. The government knows how to address agitations constructively. Why is it different for IPOB? Biafra is not just a name, it is an ideology. Until the government addresses marginalization, the scars remain. People radicalize when ignored. Let me be sincere. Ndị Igbo are better desire for a united Nigeria, and this is why Ndị Igbo wants a united Nigeria, but a fair one. If government worked for the Igbos, Nnamdi Kanu selfless would have been far less. Igbos are naturally Republican, cautious, and thoughtful, yet frustration and neglect led them to embrace Kanu as a leader, and today his respect among the Igbos is unmatched. Talking about human rights and national security, this man, like I said, claimed when national security is threatened, human rights are suspended. This is entirely false. The Nigerian constitution, the Kenyan constitution, the international law, the world, the global constitution, none allow suspension of human rights because of security threats. Even those accused of murder or terrorism are entitled to due process. Human rights do not have limitations. Kanu's rendition from Kenya to Nigeria was illegal because no extradition hearing was held. No court order approved the transfer. Both countries' laws and international human rights rules were violated. National security cannot justify kidnapping, torture, or bypassing due processes. Competent court of jurisdiction have ruled the rendition illegal. The only point I agree with this man is on this one. The Nigerian constitution needs review. And what is Nnamdi Kanu talking about? What is he fighting for? After the civil war, Nigerians were actually killed, whether Igbo or Biafran. No single soul should be left to quietly defend national unity while inequality persists. Fundamental rights include the freedom to decide where one belongs, either A or B, and the inclusion of referendum options could provide this and have it resolved once and for all. For Nnamdi Kanu's case, a political solution is the only viable path. I kept on saying this. Anything short of that is a waste of time. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu should not and must not ignore the silence of Ndị Igbo since the Kanu's conviction. A united Nigeria is possible, but only if it is just, equitable, and responsive to its people. Until then, ignoring the root causes only fuels agitation. So as we reflect on Kanu's case, one thing becomes clear. This is not just about one man, as I do always say. It is not just about the court. It is about history, justice, and the trust of a people who have long been ignored. Question of human rights, due process, and political fairness cannot be swept aside in the name of national security. Agitation is a symptom of neglect, a call for attention when voices are silenced. Whether you agree or disagree with Kanu, the lesson is undeniable. Political solutions, fairness, and dialogue are the only path to the lasting peace. Ignoring grievances only deepen divisions, fuel frustration, and risk repeating the mistakes of the past. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the Nigerian leaders have a choice to listen, to act fairly, and to restore trust, or to allow history's scar to fester. This is About Perspectives, your domain for unfiltered news and raw political analysis. If you found this analysis insightful, don't forget to like this video, share, smash the subscribe button, turn on the notification, and subscribe so you would always get notified each time we drop an update. Thank you for watching.